Hey everyone, RJ here with CV Tech, and today I will be doing a speed test comparison between the 2016 flagship, the LG V20, and a very underrated phone called the Kodak Extra. Let's go ahead and see how these phones pair up against each other. Let's go ahead and get started right now. Okay, so like I made mention, everybody knows about the LG V20, how much of a powerhouse it is, how great it does work. And this phone right here, the Kodak Extra, is a very odd design phone with this huge camera bump there, this little bump down here as well. This is more camera oriented for great pictures, videos, stuff of that nature. And honestly, I believe that the release price of the Extra was around $400 and probably around $800 here for the V20. However, the Kodak Extra phone you can get for like $100 to $150 depending on where you buy it from. So let's just see how it stacks up against the LG V20. So let's go ahead here and we will get in with this comparison. So we'll go ahead and make sure everything is clear. But first, I'm going to go into CPU-Z on both devices here just to see what we're running with here on both devices. So here on the Kodak Extra, we are running the 2.31 gigahertz MediaTek Helio X20 processor. This phone has a deca-core processor, which is 10 cores. So quite a bit of cores there with a Mali T880 GPU. Has a 5-inch display at 1080 by 1920, so full HD display here with a PPI of 443, so pretty impressive. Has 3 gigabytes of RAM as well as 32 gigabytes of storage. Now looking over here at the LG V20, we have the 2.15 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon 820, which is the quad-core processor with an Adreno 530 GPU. This phone does have a 5.7-inch display at 1440 by 2560 at 512 pixels per inch with 4 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes of onboard storage. So all the apps has been updated on both of these devices here. Let's go ahead and go into Geekbench 4 just to see what kind of speeds we do have here. Now, Geekbench scores and AnTuTu scores, whatever, they're not 100% accurate. I just run these tests here to give you an idea of these two devices and where they differ. Let's go ahead and go into the history of both of these devices here, and we'll see where we stand. So on the Kodak Extra, we got 1610 single core score and 4550 multi-core score, and 1698 single core score and 3662 here on the LG V20. Now, yes, I am running 7.0 Nougat here and 6.0 Marshmallow here on the Kodak Extra. I know some say, well, it's not a fair comparison because it does not run the same operating system, but that's the latest version you can get for the Kodak Extra device. Let's go ahead and go back home here, go into AnTuTu benchmark and see where we stand here. So on the Kodak Extra, we got a score of 98,223, while on the V20, we got 153,219. So considerable higher scores here on the LG V20. Let's go ahead and go back home here. We'll make sure that everything is cleared out and ready to go. Cache has been cleared. Everything has been updated. So we're ready to go ahead and get in with this comparison. Just to double check here to make sure everything is cleared out, and it is. And we'll get in with this comparison starting now. That was the LG V20. Let's go into YouTube. That was the LG V20. Let's go into calculator. That was even. Let's go into the calendar. That was the LG V20. Let's go into the clock. LG V20. Google Plus. So the LG V20 right now is taking it. Not taking it by much, but it is taking it. Let's go into the camera. That was about even, I would have to say. Got pushed to X there to get out of that. Let's go into Amazon Shopping. And so it pulls up a whole different screen here and everything. So I'm gonna kind of call that a draw, having to bring up an extra screen here compared to this screen here on the V20. So I'll call that a draw. Let's go into Instagram. And that was pretty even there. I mean, when it comes to very split second, you know, opening, I pretty much call it a draw because it's really not important enough to sit here and say, well, the V20 just barely took it or the Kodak barely took it. So I'm going to call that a draw. Now let's go into the Play Store, and that will be the LG V20. We'll go into Settings. That was the Kodak. Let's go into Snapchat. And that was the LG V20. And we'll go into Twitter. So that was the LG V20, just barely. Let's go into Hulu. And that's pretty much even. That was pretty much dead on even. Go into Temple Run 2. So as you see here, the V20 is taking about every test. But it's by just like a split, nothing of a second. And is that really important? Now, as far as gaming goes, it looks like that, you know, Temple Run 2, the Kodak pretty much took it there on this portion of gaming. Let's go ahead and go into Subway Surfer, and we'll see which one starts off here. So, you know, we do have a really nice display on both of them, full 1080 here, and you know, Ultra HD here. Not really sure. I think it's 2K. Not really sure how that works out, but that was barely the LG V20, as you can see right there. And go into Dead Trigger here. Now we do have the 820 on the LG as well as 1 GB more of RAM. So this started up first there on the Kodak. And so there we go. I mean, that right there was the first test showing you how it does work. And yes, the LG V20 did take it, the majority of apps, by like, what, a half a second, which is not even really important. So going from MediaTek to Snapdragon, you know, it is what it is. Let's go ahead and just kind of go back through some of these apps here for app open and test. And it don't really matter when they open as long as they're not any reload. So ready to go there. Go into Subway Surfer. Both of them ready to roll. Let's go into Temple Run 2. Both of them ready to roll. Go into Hulu. No reloads there. Twitter. No reloads. Let's go into Snapchat. Both of them ready to roll. Settings. Good to go. Play Store. Both of them ready to go there as well. Instagram. Both of them open and ready to roll. Amazon Shopping. So there we go again. No problems. We'll skip camera and go into Google Plus. We have a reload here, it looks like, on the V20. Already open there on the Kodak. Let's go into Clock. So yeah, we're seeing a little bit more of a reload here on this side. Let's go into Calendar. Ready to roll on both. Calculator. Pretty close. YouTube. Ready to go. Had to reload there on the V20. And the KJV Bible. Let's see which one starts up first. That was the V20. So really close. I mean, I would say yes, the first test of the V20, slightly by a quarter of a second, half a second was faster on the V20 than the Kodak. Both of them are really solid devices. I mean, the V20 is very smooth. You know, it has really good features, really good stuff there. Now, the Kodak Extra phone, as you see right here, is a very weird design, okay? Too many button placements on one side kind of hinders, you know, like a tripod mount, because this volume button needs to be on the left, further up for room for a tripod mount and all like that. That rear camera is huge. However, that camera is really solid. Has a lot of really nice features, and this phone costs around $400 at release, and some places are still charging that for this device, which is kind of crazy. But some places you can get it for like $100, $120. Has this really nice brush look here on the sides. Very thick phone. Headset jack there and everything. Speaker is down here in this little crease. But the phone is really solid. I mean, with the MediaTek. Now on the LG V20, got the 820 with that really nice camera on the rear. This got the wide-angle lens, optical image stabilization. And if you look here on the back of here, you will see 21 megapixel 4K and 2K PDAF, 6-axis OIS. Haven't really seen that so far, so I might do some more tweaking to find that out. But it works very well here on the LG V20. Very solid device. Both of them are great devices, and honestly, I can recommend them both. However, for the Kodak phone, there is a specific market. If you want that really nice kind of cool camera that kind of sets the phone out. I mean, I got a 5-inch display here, and honestly, the phone is really cool. That MediaTek processor is really solid, and honestly, going between MediaTek here and Snapdragon, it was very, very close together. So, you know, it just kind of depends. I mean, if you want to still pay $300 and some for the LG V20, or $100 or a bit more for the Kodak Extra, this phone is not for everybody. This phone has got a ton of negative reviews because it didn't support such good, you know, performance and all like that, you know. But as you see, the performance is pretty solid here on the Extra, and I have absolutely no problem with the phone. It's a stellar phone. It works really well as the LG V20. This is one of my favorite LG phones. The V series has been excellent, been fantastic. Battery life has been pretty good on this device. Same way here on the Kodak. You know, it's just whatever kind of, you know, it's just whatever you like more. Do you like a kind of a quirky design where you have this little bump down here that makes it really easy to hold on and take pictures with this dedicated camera key here with a lot of DSLR type features and cameras? Do you like the LG V20 for its, you know, really nice manual mode for cameras? Better firing speaker here on the bottom with its quad deck and all like that. Secondary display. 2016 flagship has been very solid and without really any issues. So if this little speed test comparison was helpful and informative in any way, hit that like button. Any questions you may have, leave it below, and I'll get back with you as soon as possible. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I would really appreciate it. Y'all have a good one, and thanks for watching.